Whilst the country prepares earnestly for the inauguration of the president-elect and eventual declaration of the 10th National Assembly, another round of intense campaigns are going on, and this time among members-elect of the two chambers of the National Assembly in the race to the presidency of the Senate and speakership of the House of Representatives. Although the leadership tussle is gaining momentum, memories of upsets at the polls remain fresh in many minds, and the electorate await eagerly to see how the drama in the main legislative election will factor into the ongoing internal drama to produce credible principal officers who will guide the National Assembly to provide effective legislation for Nigerians. We will begin this episode on the program by taking you closer into one of the states that recorded a major upset in the rupture of existing political party dominance to produce leaders from a party that could easily pass for an underdog in the race. My name is Onengiye Fineface, and this is The Mandate. My first guest on the program is a product of the Obidati movement, the Labour Party fever, if you may, coming from the south region of the country. He has been on the program not too long ago to talk about what qualifies him to win the votes of his constituents, and now he is back, having secured their mandate, to tell us how differently he intends to provide quality representation to his people. He is Barrister Neda Imasuen, Senator-elect for Edo South Senatorial District. Welcome to The Mandate, Barrister Neda Imasuen.
Thank you so very much, and I'm glad to be here with you today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to host you on the program again. Let's start off on your election victory. Does your victory show a shift in the political landscape of Edo South Senatorial District, considering, of course, the fact that this is the first time in a long while that a candidate outside the major parties will be leading in this capacity?
Well, of course. Given the fact that my victory is on the back of the Labour Party movement, which is not before the election the mainstream party, to that extent, yes, it is an upset. But it's not very surprising, because given the movement, the mood of the nation before the election, and even as we speak, the yearning for the change in the country, for the direction that the country needs to go. So it wasn't a surprising thing for anybody who actually studies or follows the trend of things in the country.
Yeah, would you see this as a vote for candidate and not party? And then what does it mean for the political development in Edo State in terms of the voting patterns of the state over time?
I would say it's a combination of party and candidate. What it means for the voting pattern is that the electorate have actually come to terms with the understanding that their votes cannot be taken for granted.
Okay.
And that they needed change. As you very well know, the country has been tilting towards what I would consider a destructive path, a path that is not actually progressive, a path that is not bringing progress to the people. So they needed a change, and the Labour Party, on the back of our leader, presidential candidate Peter Obi, provided that leadership and provided that mandate.
You have said in the past that as a former legislative aide to a senator, you oversaw projects from inception to delivery across, I think, 77 wards that comprise the Edo South Senatorial District. How will this experience translate into an improved quality of representation of the people of Edo South in the 10th National Assembly?
It definitely will, because in the history of of Edo South Senatorial District, my former boss that I worked under, Senator Matthew Oworibe, unarguably has been the most productive and the most progressive and one senator that has actually affected positively the lives of Edo South Senatorial District. And so that is the block, that is where I'm coming from. Having learned very well from the way he did things, I also will improve upon it. As you rightly said, I was his senior legislative aide, which means everything had to pass through my table before it ends up on his table. The I's, the T's had to be dotted and crossed by me, and he approves, and then we'll go ahead and execute the programs. Like I said, in the 77 wards that makes up Edo South Senatorial District, there isn't a ward today that has not been touched by the works of Senator Matthew Oworibe.
If he has done so well, why are you here? Why are you in the Senate? Are you going to do anything differently from what he has been doing?
Well, of course, there's always room for improvement. There will always be room for improvement. Okay. And I will improve on it. Okay.
During the campaigns, you had made reference to the fact that he would push for a legislation to make it possible for Nigerians in the diaspora to vote during elections in the country. How do you plan to manage the political and ideological differences and uniqueness, of course, of the Constitution of the National Assembly to achieve this target?
Well, one thing that a lot of the electorate, the public, is not very much aware of, it's that, yes, the wave of change brought me to power, to this seat. Also, even across most of the parties, given the interaction, the opportunity I've had to interact with my colleagues, senator-elects, you could see that these are very young, vibrant, and dynamic Nigerians who are set to bring about changes. So I can see them as partners that we can work with, that we can sit down and look at issues dispassionately for the goods of the country. Now, with the diaspora bill, I said it's a bill that I need to pick up, and I will pick it up. If you realize that the economy today has been helped very much by the funds that comes in from the Nigerian in the diaspora, either to pay school fees, to build houses, to help companies and the likes. It runs into billions of dollars, and had it not been for such funds coming in, I can only imagine what the country would have been today. And so, if the diaspora Nigerians can be of tremendous help, or tremendous influence, or tremendous contributors to our economy, I do not see why they cannot have a stake in determining who becomes the president of our country.
Well, can Nigeria handle diaspora voting, bearing in mind the current realities and challenges in conducting elections in the country? Take, for instance, the issue of the bimodal voter accreditation machine, the little technological hitches here and there that characterize the elections for this year. Do we have what it takes now to think of not just getting it right in country, but also opening it up for Nigerians in the diaspora?
Well, I'll tell you something. If that bill passes, I can assure you that it will be one of the most free election that you can rely on, because it's going to follow the model of the voting patterns in the various countries where Nigerians reside, and so there will be no room for manipulations, because it is not tolerated there. And I believe that yes, those checks and balances that exist in those countries that Nigerians reside will also apply when Nigerians vote in those elections.
How would that apply? How would that happen?
Because I give it as an example. If in the US, for instance, where there's a voters registration and everybody has a number, electoral numbers where they come, They check the list, your name is there, and you are given a ballot to vote, or if it's sort of a box where you press and it's recorded, whatever it is. There will be a collaboration, I'm sure, with the various governments in the countries where Nigerians reside.
Well, your explanation precludes that there might be some kind of alteration to the electoral law itself in Nigeria to accommodate some of these things you're saying. So are you going to have that contained in the bill you intend to sponsor?
Oh, because it's not going to be done without an amendment to the electoral laws, because as it is, there isn't a provision for Nigerians in the diaspora. When the time comes, then the amendment has to be considered, where that has to be put into considerations to accommodate Nigerians in the diaspora.
Well, as a Nigerian who had spent some time in the diaspora, what is your take on the Japa syndrome and associated brain drain, and how would you say can the National Assembly legislate to retain Nigeria's professionals without at the same time falling foul of undermining their fundamental human rights?
Well, unfortunately, Nigerians seem to how will I put it? The Nigerian government seems to have an interesting way of addressing issues when they come up. For instance, what you just spoke about, Nigerians leaving the countries in droves. I was, even during my campaign, I mentioned it severally, and it's something that is worrisome. That Nigerians, doctors are trained in Nigeria with the Nigerian government assistance, and when they are trained, they leave to other countries that are richer than Nigeria, and they are assimilated and given all the tools and what it is for them to work. In Nigeria, we just train them and we don't care about them at all, as if we don't have any use for them, which is the reason why they all live in droves. May interest you that countries, the so-called first world countries, come to Nigeria, Abuja, Lagos, and Port Harcourt, and what have you, to begin to recruit Nigerian doctors, nurses, professionals, and now they're even recruiting teachers, as if we don't have use for them. And you and I understand that we have the need for them. We don't have enough doctors, that's certainly. We don't have enough nurses, certainly. We don't have enough pharmacists. We don't have enough teachers. Yet, the ones that we put our resources to train are leaving because we don't make use of them. So this question of holding their certificate for a period of time, 5 years or more, before they are allowed to leave the country, does not solve the problem. For me, let us sit down again and review what is going on. We don't have enough equipment in our hospitals. We don't have enough hospitals. We don't have accommodation for our doctors, nurses, technicians, and the like. And so they leave. If we see them, if we need them, then we must see them sit down to look for how to accommodate them, to give them the tools so that they can work and hone their trade in a very effective manner.
Well, I do not expect that you can provide any of those things, but I'm interested in the kind of legislation you think would facilitate all of that, so that those planning to go now will have a change of heart, while those abroad will maybe consider coming back to contribute to Nigeria.
Very simply this: if we look at our hospitals, you know that if you go to our hospitals today, they're just places where doctors give you prescriptions, and there are no drugs to follow up. I don't know how many X-rays we have in our hospitals. I don't know any cancer center that is actually of repute. I don't know any lab today that's in the public hospitals where you can rely or go to and be attended to speedily. All these things count, and not until we are able to sit down and seriously look at the situation and improve upon them But we need money. We need to put money in healthcare. It's something that affects all of us. And I'm sorry to say that if the situation with our senior colleague Ekweremadu, this could have been avoided if we have the facilities in this country. And I don't see why we cannot have these facilities in this country.
So you mentioned Ekweremadu, so I'm going to put you on the spot myself. 2 quick questions. Have you gone outside Nigeria for medical treatment before? Yes or no?
I live there. So if I live there, then...
While in Nigeria, go abroad for...
No, I've not had any need to do that.
Okay, you've gone out for maybe tourism or something, a tourist visit? Outside Nigeria?
I don't know if you call it tourism. I lived in the US, I'm married there, even I'm divorced, and I have children there. So
The follow-up question, which I intend to put you on the spot on, is how many tourist sites in Nigeria have you visited for leisure?
There's no state in Nigeria that I've not visited.
Okay.
Let me tell you this.
Okay.
I attended the University of Maiduguri.
Oh, that's great. From Edo State to Borno.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there is nowhere in the north I really do not know.
Okay.
And there's nowhere in the south I really do not know. I've lived in Lagos, I've lived in Ibadan. I have friends in Enugu, and I've spent so much time in Enugu. There's really not a place, Ebonyi, I've been on all those places. There's really no state capital that I have not visited.
Well, it's good to know that you're saying what you have practiced. That's what
yes. Oh, definitely.
Now, during your campaign, you said something that borders on your loyalty, and I quote, "I will offer my services to the realization of the economic and social policies of Peter Obi," end of quote. Where will your allegiance lie now, since apparently Peter Obi lost the election and you have the majority of your colleagues from the ruling APC?
Well, that's not going to change.
That is not going to change. Let's get it.
My policy, understanding, and affiliation with my principle.
Your allegiance.
Yeah, my allegiance to his principles and ideals and beliefs is not going to change. I say so because your question tend to give the impression that the APC and the PDP are not interested in progress. I think they are.
No, that's not the issue.
I think they are. That's the point, because the beliefs and the ideals of my principal Peter Obi is that of progress, that of moving the country forward. Like I told you before, we've had the opportunity since coming to Abuja now, after the election, and as you know, we are in our induction program now. To this Wednesday, so this is our third day into the induction program. And it's an opportunity for us to interact and to meet one another and to talk. And we are doing so. And I'm convinced that this crop of the 10th Senate is a serious one. It's a crop of individuals who are actually ready to work and to move the country forward. And so I don't think I see any problem where if I propose the bill that is going to help to move the country forward, that you're going to now seat someone who will oppose it just because. That's not going to happen.
All right. Now, what is your take on the current leadership tussle in the Senate? Of course, I know you'll be following up. Does the Labour Party have a candidate? If not, which candidate will you align with for the office of the Senate President?
First of all, the Labour Party don't have a candidate. We are 8 senators. We are 8 senators in this 10th assembly. Which of the candidates am I following?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I'm from the South,
okay.
So I'm biased.
Okay.
I'll look at the situation very dispassionately, and I will want to vote for a candidate that's progressive.
Okay.
A candidate that's ready and willing to bring integrity to the Senate, to the National Assembly. A candidate that is serious about improving the health care, that is serious in improving on the security and education and infrastructure, and of course reducing the deficits that we seem to face today. That's the kind of candidate I will vote for.
Well, I was expecting to hear you express your bias in more confidence. So when you have in mind that you might be considering.
Like you said, election is about 4 weeks away.
Okay.
So the dynamics.
It's tough now.
Yes, it's tough. The dynamics will keep changing as expected. But like I said, my bias is the fact that I'm from the South. Okay. And so that resonates well with me.
Now, will you be doing that as an individual member of the Senate, or you're doing that as a caucus of the Labour Party?
Well, the Labour Party is yet to meet. We will be meeting soon to consider this question, and then we'll take a position at that point.
All right. In a few words, in the next 4 years, what would you like to look back at and say you did well as a senator? Well,
like I said, we just mentioned the diaspora bill, for instance. I'm also very much interested in the audit bill. Okay. Audit bill is what I have mentioned, in many fora. It's a bill that I believe that if that passes, will actually help to stem this issue of corruption. Okay. And I believe that corruption has eaten so deeply into our fabrics that if we don't stop it, then it's going to eat us up. And I believe that with the passage of the audit bill, the loopholes that is open out there for people to be so corrupt and to embezzle public funds will be reduced, if not eliminated.
Okay. Thank you very much, Barrister Neda Emasuen, Senator-elect Edo South Senatorial District, for joining us on the program.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I wish you plenty of luck as you brace the task ahead.
Thank you so very much.
We were supposed to have a second guest. Unfortunately, we respected Suleiman Abdurrahman, Senator-elect Kano South Senatorial District, but he seems to be held up somewhere, so he will not be joining us. So we will call it a day on this program. So this is the size of the program for tonight. The mandate comes up every Monday at 10:05 p.m., Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. and Fridays also at 10:30 p.m. I'm Onengie Fineface. Bye for now.